nearly got told off because I nearly started the stream while Kaeyi was eating pizza. And that would have been bad. She wouldn't have been happy with me. And we don't want an unhappy Kaeyi now, do we? Okay, folks, hold on to your hats, your horses, and your handbags. Here we go. And I do believe, Kaeyi, you escaped from being seen eating pizza on screen. Did I time it right
pizza.
Or wrong?
Only healthy food here. My body is a temple.
Well, it must have been healthy pizza, surely. I can't imagine anything else.
It's made out of air.
Air pizza. That's like air guitar, but not even as satisfying. But before we get into that, let us say hellos. Kaeyi, you are with us. How are you?
Hello. It's been a while, but I'm glad to be here for the excitement of pre-launch.
Absolutely. And Gazimoff, you're looking very blue today.
Thank you very much. I don't feel particularly blue, but yes, I'm wearing the team colours, as it were.
And you even have the team screen in the background. And hello to all of you in the channel. It is good to have you here. So let's get right into the stuff we want to get into. We are what, 12 hours away now, or something of that nature. Can we get an exact clock? There's one of these wonderful time
I think it's
countdown things somewhere.
12 or 13.
12 hours? And I'm told
11 billion minutes.
11
billion minutes.
That's quite a lot. And Kaeyi, you need to turn yourself up a touch if you can.
Yeah, I'm just doing that now. I'm a mixer.
Fabulous. So Gazimoff, are you all set? Are we ready to go for launch?
Yes, I believe everything is in place. I have my accounts prepped and ready. No, seriously, accounts. I have my accounts prepped and ready, although I am going to be focusing on just a single character. The fridge is stocked full of geeky snacks and morsels to last over the coming weekend. The phone is disabled, the voicemail is engaged, and I think I am ready for a weekend of wall-to-wall WildStar.
Excellent. And did anyone tell you that your mother-in-law was turning up tomorrow morning?
No, it's all right. I'm just going to paste a 404 on the front door. Wrong turn, Space Cowboy.
I'm not sure that will be understood. So, Kaeyi, how about you? Are you all prepped and ready?
Yes. Last night I cooked 4 batches of chili con carne. I've got other meals prepped. Actually, I can show you all my organisational skills. I have a basket of healthy
that's
snacks.
a basket of snacks.
A basket of snacks, all prepared. I have all my drinks prepared. I have other meals planned. My accounts aren't in order. There was that weird, did anyone else have that, where you would log into your, not NCSoft, the actual WildStar account, and it would be like you didn't have the game? It was scary. It was like, I think it was yesterday, but it's all sorted now. But yeah, I've cleaned the entire apartment, so nothing has to be done.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm a bit excited and frantic.
Yes, I diverted from building websites this afternoon to spend some time prepping myself. I now have much food has been created. So there is
cheese.
Some of it is cheese related. Yes, there is a bacon and sausage cheesy mustardy pasta bake that has been prepared. There is a Guinness and beef stew that is sitting there waiting to be devoured. And there may well be some alcoholic libations waiting in store. For whenever the clock is past the yard arm, or whatever the phrase is.
Whenever you level, you'll take a shot. I think that should be a thing.
That might not start so well. It gets okay later.
You take so long to level, you'll sober up in between each one, so it'll be fine.
But what happens if I level really fast?
Yeah, well then you're screwed.
So is this a thing, Kaeyi? Shot leveling? Is this what we're doing?
Yeah. I'll take a shot of green tea, though.
Oh, green tea is cheating. I will take a shot of espresso.
You saw me at New Year's Eve. I would be on the floor at level 2.
I gave you at least till level 3.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
So Gazimoff, what are the plans of choice? So what's your plan? What are you doing with your first character whenever you log in?
So, first character, so name reservation. So I'll be creating that character. I'm going to be rolling my first character on WildStar, which is the EU roleplay server. Although I do have some plans to get onto Hazak, which is the EU PvP one as well. And after that, it's going to be get the character looking just the way I want it to, and then I'm not going to race to 50 this time. I've got to be honest with you. I've done that whole kind of Zerg to 50 thing before, or Zerg to level cap before. This time round, I'm going to try and be the completionist. Do every single quest, complete every single objective, get every single achievement, find every single data cube. So that's going to be my goal for this time round.
Gonna be a bit of a lore hound.
Definitely.
Now, I'm just going to try and attempt to make a change, because apparently the title of the show has not changed correctly.
Oh yeah, it says the data mine.
Yes, it's actually not letting me... That was yesterday. You missed a great show. You didn't see the data mine. However, it's not letting me change it. This is very interesting. I shall have to attend to this later. Let me just holler for anyone who has rights to channel. So I have to type on stream. Sorry about this. Can we switch our title, please? There we go.
You sound like you're doing the hacking minigame from Watch Dogs.
I could do something like that. Right. I'm seeing if someone can get that title changed for us, because it won't let my account do it. So there we go. So, okay, let's just run through the checklist that people should be going through. First things first. Name reservations. For a lot of us, check. Yep. Certainly those that are starting tomorrow morning, they've had that opportunity. It might not have gone smoothly. And some people might be called Slighty Bartfast KFKFKFJ or whatever if they didn't go back and change it again after those moments of frustration. But everyone should have something to get going with. A lot of people have got guild names reserved. Now, my understanding of this is you're the only person that can create that guild name, but you're still going to have to get to level 12. You're still going to have the correct currency, etc., to make that happen. So there's a lot of people, I'm sure, are going to be doing things like, quick, let's create a circle so we can communicate, get ourselves out to level 12, then create the guild. So that seems to be the plan. And a lot of people...
You just upgrade a circle to a guild, right? I think. You, upgrade it.
I haven't tried that way. I've only created the guilds outright. So that's a new one on me, if you can.
I might be making it up, as always.
I don't know.
I might have imagined it.
To the channel. Can we upgrade a circle to a guild? Not one I've tried. We'll have to see what happens. And of course, the next thing that people probably will have done will have been to sort out their character visuals. And I'm surprised, Gazimoff, you haven't done that yet.
Well, to be honest with you, when I was looking at it, I kind of said, okay, ginger head, sure, long ears, that kind of stuff. When I was originally creating the character, I didn't mess around with the sliders that much. I just went pop, 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 done. Rather like someone else who just kind of created their character, mashed a few keys on the button, and then just went, okay, get in the game. So this time around, I'm actually going to, because I know I've got the name reserved, I'm going to fiddle and tweak and make sure everything is just perfect for the 2 or 3 people who go for that extreme close-up, because no one else will notice. There we go.
I've had my codes for ages.
I had one, but I changed it in Ops Week. So I now know exactly how I look, and I'm a little colourful, it must be said. So let's look at a couple of other things here then. So you mentioned you're going to take your time, Gazimoff. Now, what's that going to do to you at the start? What's that going to do to you when you're going through the ship, the first couple of levels? Do you think you're going to run into an issue in the first, say, 5-10 levels of contention for getting hold of stuff?
So, in terms of the playthrough, I think the level 1 to 3 experience will be pretty much as we know it. We might get a few more cutscenes. In fact, I'm kind of betting that we might get a new intro video when we actually play the game for the first time, which would be nice. But I think that really when things are going to start changing, from my own experience, is once I get to the kind of post level 3 content, you get down on Nexus, you start looking for those data cubes, you start trying to complete those achievements, and just finding out how much leveling content there is. That's when I think things are going to be different for me. I also think that it's that kind of area where Carbine's decision to have open tagging on all their mobs is really going to pay dividends, because you're not going to end up with, say, 5 million people in Crimson Isle trying to compete to kill 3 boars. You know, that kind of situation, which has happened in a couple of MMO launches that I can remember.
Or even worse, trying to get 3 boar teeth from boars that apparently don't have teeth by the time you finish killing them. I never understood that one.
For, I think, was it when Cataclysm launched? I remember in the underwater zone, is it Vashir? And we were just having to kill so many things, and it was just terrible because there was just big groups of camping, and you'd have to like get a hunter to like quick shot them. But I'm so glad that open tagging
it actually,
so much nicer.
It to me looked like someone had just set off dynamite in the water, because there were just Naga bodies everywhere floating.
Yeah, I remember that as well, and it was not pleasant at all. So I think for me, that open tagging change is going to be the big thing, which makes the whole leveling thing much smoother. And it means that straight from the onset, rather than competing against everyone in your faction, you're playing alongside them, you're cooperating, and that's going to really help to build a good, strong server community straight from the offset.
The interesting thing is about this leveling curve as well is, I mean, there'll be those of us who are trying to get sort of just ahead of that median point on the curve. Just because if you can get ahead and then stay ahead a little bit, it just makes life so much easier. So that's not for you, but Kai, are you going to be powering through with all your snacks to keep you going?
Yes, so I've kept the same. I'm going to be an Aura and Esper, and we're going to be on Echo, me and Miz, and the rest of our guild, obviously. And yeah, I plan to be 50 in a week. I'm streaming it with Martin, you can see behind there. We're streaming on Saturday all the way through to Friday, so we hope to hit 50 on Friday. That would be the aim. I did actually hit 50 in the closed beta before it even went to pre-order, so I did level quite a lot then. And it took me around about 40 hours played time to get to 50, but that was like first time through, you know, stopping, smelling the roses, standing around a lot trying to figure out what crafting is, because it was really confusing at first, and things like that. So I think we can definitely do it by Friday, hopefully. Should be good. But we're not going to stress out. We still want to read all the quests, and especially now they've got the new Drusera instances from level 35 to 50. I want to experience them. I want to run every dungeon at the desired level, and adventures and ship hands and stuff. So I'm not going to pure just like only quest. I want to enjoy it, but I still want to try and get us 50 in a week.
Yeah, I'm certainly expecting the moment there's adventures and dungeons to be getting in there at least once, if nothing else, because the first time you do all the extra side quests and bits and pieces in them, there's a lot of XP to be had there. So to me, if you are trying to level fast, it still makes sense if you've got a group to get into those dungeons, get into those adventures.
And it's the best XP at that point at the time anyway, because if you go in them at higher levels, then you're not really getting the full benefit of, you know, the quests to go in there and the adventures, and again, like all of those different paths, you have better XP, so better gain.
We'll see what happens. So go on then, Kai, what's your estimation? How long do you think before we find ourselves running around on the first adventure? How long to 15?
Ooh, so 15. I think the first day.
Yep.
I think first day, maybe the evening, because it does depend on service. Hopefully we have a good launch experience. Fingers crossed, you know, we're all in at 8 AM and we're playing and everything like that. But you know, if there is some hiccups, maybe the second day. But I'm pretty sure that we'll, like you said, you're going to stay on until you can make the guild at level 12. So I reckon, it won't be long after that we're 15 and ready to go.
Pretty sure at that point I'll be staying on till we've got an adventure group. So
yeah.
I can see
I'll
happening.
Be crying because I have to go through Galaras, and I hate that zone. So I'll be like, 15. Can we do anything but Galaras? Yeah.
Gazimoff, how about you? Do you see yourself getting into some group content day one?
I would like to, but my main concern is having good people to level alongside. And when you've got that, you don't really need to race ahead or try and hit certain milestones. I actually want to enjoy the experience for what it is. I've I've played WildStar so many times where I've been trying to race through content so that I can then use it to write an article or to provide an update or to dispense my opinion. This time I'm actually looking forward to the experience of just enjoying playing with other people for once, because that's going to be fairly new for me.
How are you going to have a good, enjoyable experience playing with people on Dominion?
With other chewers.
You're going about this all wrong.
No. I'm going about it all right.
We shall see. Okay, so let's think about the launch. We typically know that MMO launches are not always the nicest, smoothest sailing events ever. And I think there has to be a little bit of recognition that you've got to expect some problems. You've got to expect some server queues. It really comes down to how many, to what degree. If in the first 24 hours, servers are available for 20 of those, playable, I would call that a success. I don't know. What do you think?
I think if you have, to be fair, I think if you have more played time to downtime, it's a success for MMO launches.
Yeah.
I think the worst launch I personally have experienced is Final Fantasy Realm Reborn. That was rocky for like 2 weeks, not even just the first day. So I think, I expect there to be issues. You can't know how many people have bought the game, because there could be people on day one purchasing it and going to log in, and Carbine wouldn't know those statistics because they're all in stores. So yeah, you don't know, but luckily they have got, the 3-day head start, and they've said it's like a soft launch, so maybe there are a lot of people holding back to purchase it on June 3rd rather than pre-ordering it. So it's so hard to tell. They've done so many testing, but everything's gone okay so far. So even Cougar said he's a bit worried.
Well, I think it is his job to be. Gazimoff.
I think there's a couple of things. I know that some people have had issues with account pages, registering serial codes and stuff like that, but once your account's prepped and ready and set up, everything seems to be going fairly smoothly. And yes, they have been playing around in the data centers with unplugging things and seeing if everything still works. So I think they've tested as much as they can. However, it's going to be a case of, okay, if they get a smooth launch, fantastic. I am kind of thinking, though, that there are going to be a bunch of players who, rather than diving in headfirst at launch, are kind of holding back until they get the all clear from their friends and see, okay, this is actually a stable game, there's no major hiccups, we'll dive in. The only thing which Carbine are going to have to look out for are any bugs, exploits and weaknesses which players have been holding back for launch rather than reporting. There are a couple of exploits that have already been reported and have been dealt with and handled and stuff like that, which has been fantastic. But there are always a couple of people who find something a bit sneaky and crafty and then keep it to themselves so that they can exploit it when the game goes live. And I think Carbine's response to that, first of all, how they respond to it, and second, how quickly they respond to it, it's been quite interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the point you made as well, Miz, is about people maybe not holding back, not logging in and things. You've also got to consider America, it's midnight, if not 2 a.m. for some people. So there might be a lot of people, as Gazzy said, just not playing straight away, because what's the point in staying up till 2 a.m. to then play a game if it's going to be rocky? I mean, even for us, getting up at 8 a.m. for some people is still a bit oh, do I really have to? So I think people may not try and log in as soon as it goes live. They'll wait for a couple of hours, which is better for us, but it means you won't really know how stable things are until later in the day.
I'm sure a lot of guilds will be doing this. We're all going to be congregating on our TeamSpeak just to talk to each other, have fun. And there's something special about the atmosphere just before a new game starts, especially we've all been waiting for it for so long. I think we'll be there from about 6 in the morning, just on TS, waiting to go.
No. I'm going to be getting as much sleep as humanly possible between now and 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. I think it is fantastic they have picked the most civilized time possible for a game to launch. It's WildStar for breakfast, so you've got your bacon, your eggs, and your chewer. Fantastic. Yeah, brilliant.
Cooked chewer.
Rare.
No.
Rare chewer.
So personally, I think we could not have asked for anything better as Europeans. We've got the perfect setup.
It is unusual, actually, that the time zone actually, if I'm honest, favours Europeans more so than anything else.
Hmm. I think it is unusual, but they wanted to go with the midnight kind of opening of servers.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real midnight launch plans in terms of big store openings and stuff like that. So I think this is their way of saying we're firing the servers up at midnight. I feel sorry for the guys like Cougar and the rest of the ops team who are going to be working for that midnight launch. Yeah,
there'll be no time to use those.
No. But personally, I think being able to spend the entire day playing the game, getting into the game, and then it means that you're not going to be playing it for like 2, 3, maybe 5 hours and then saying, no, I'm going to call it a night. You can play the whole day through and then have a good night's sleep, safe in the knowledge that you've managed to make some real progression. So, I think it's good.
Indeed. Now, I'll bounce this one out to the channel as well, so let's find out what people's plans are. How many hours are people planning on playing for day 1, day 2, and let's say day 3 for this head start period? So I'm going to pick out some answers from here while I choke. But Kai, how about you? How much time are you only going to be playing when you're streaming?
Yes, I think so. So we've got a plan of playing 2 hours break, 2 hours break, 2 hours break, and then 3 hours. So I think, if I said that right, a total of 9 hours per day. And the reason I'm doing that is I've been stupid in the past. I've played 24 hours in a row before when Guild Wars 2 launched. I've played 35 hours over a 2-day period. So I've done all of that, and now I've just got to the point with my health. If I did play that much, it would be stupid. I would end up just being in bed for the rest of the week, and I want to consistently be able to play solidly for 7 days. So I'm thinking 9 days per day, which means the streams start at 10 a.m. and finish at 10 a.m. with 3 hours of breaks in between. It means we get plenty of sleep, don't have to wake up too early, and I think that's the best thing for us. We probably won't play anything off stream unless it's a bit of crafting or just chatting with the guild or just some fun bits, just hanging around in Fade or something. So most of the action I think will be on stream. So 9 hours each day.
We'll have to coordinate our on-off streaming time. So I'm streaming when you're not, and vice versa. We'll see if we can make that work
in our breaks.
Yes. So let's go, Gazzy.
I was just going to say, I think I'm the only person out of the group of us who's not going to be streaming, but I'm more of a writer than a streamer. I don't do this whole.
You could always stream yourself writing. I mean, would that be interesting?
No.
It works for streaming artwork. I've seen it.
With his typewriter.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding. So let's see what we've got. We've got 12 hours a day. Seems to be Robot's view, or certainly for day 1. We have I don't know how not too many answers out there. 2 days off work for memory dump. I mean, I'm sure there's people that are going to be pushing it pretty hard. I mean, I do plan on pushing it reasonably hard myself in the first few days.
Nina's doing 12 hours, she says.
Nah, I'll be joining you for that one, Nina, at least. We'll see what happens from there. So, aims then. First week, where do we want to be? You want to get yourself leveled? But that's only the beginning of the story. So before we come back to that, Gazimoff, where are you going to be in a week?
So I suspect, no, I'll be higher than level 10. I would like to be, by the end of the first week, around about level 35, 40. So I'd like to have at least conquered Farside. No, I'm not going to be going, I won't be going at a snail's pace. So I will probably be faster than Mizpah.
Well, in beta, it took me about 2 months to get to level 50, just playing it like a little bit every night. So it can take you a long time. I mean, we're saying, I'm going to be there in a week. It isn't a short leveling. We've all got the week off. But it isn't, by any means, if anyone's worried about that, it does take a long time. At least 40 hours you're thinking of leveling to get to 50, which a lot of people don't have in a week to spare, so we're lucky.
And I've still got to write. I mean, luckily I'm not doing the review for WildStar. That's falling to my boss, Bill Murphy, who's doing that. But I'm still going to have to produce my column every week. So that's going to take at least one evening. You know, I actually have to sit down and write stuff, not just go, Laura Nipson, it doesn't sit down. So yeah, I reckon by
get that joke.
yeah, only people who
A handful of us. Web
So-
designers will get it.
So I reckon, yeah, by the end of the first week, I will probably be 35-ish, and at far side, I reckon.
Okay. So let's elaborate a little bit then on this leveling process. Not everyone, of course, is going to be raiding. People are going to be doing different things in the game, but there's a fair amount of the population, I think, that at least want to explore raiding. It's certainly been a recent topic, so much has been made of it. And I'm of the opinion, whilst choking again, that not everyone is perhaps aware of how much of a journey there is to do once you get to 50.
Yeah.
Before
I think the
you
50
can...
is like
The little
the
bit.
tip of the iceberg, yeah, and then you've got all the underneath.
So Kai, elaborate on the rest of the iceberg for us.
Okay, so obviously once you get to 50, you need to then really start by doing the level, I think they're 48 technically dungeons, 48 level 50 dungeons. To get enough gear to be able to go to veteran dungeons, you're going to have to run a decent amount of veteran dungeons to even have the gear to get into raiding. Plus, you need the attunements to get into raiding, which I don't think we know exactly what they are, but I'm sure they'll be along the lines of killing every end boss in every veteran dungeon, having a certain amount of gear and collecting whatever to attune it. So it's like the old school attunements that we had back in WoW. It's no easy feat. So you've got that, and then you're going to need things like getting your crafting and your paths up to be helpful to the rest of your guild members in the raids. Yeah, it doesn't sound like much when you actually say it, but veterans are hard. I haven't done a veteran as of yet. I did a level 50 and it took us 2 hours and we gave up because that was just too long. I was falling asleep, and that was just a normal level 50 dungeon. So yeah, gonna be pretty tough.
Gazimoff, your thoughts, and I'll elaborate in a minute, because some of this stuff is out there about the attunements.
All right.
So I think that attunements are going to take a long time. I think that also, though, people are forgetting that there's this whole kind of world story thing that kicks off once you hit level 50. So you go through the Drusera instances as you're leveling up. You discover this epic storyline. And then once you hit level 50, you move from the progression story onto the world story, which will then continue in the kind of months ahead as they drop further content in. And that first patch, which is going to be arriving within the month, I would guess, is even pushing that further forward. So Blighthaven, which is going to be the new zone. So that's quite something, you know. Launch the game, first month, bam, new zone.
Kind of impressive.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, there's already a level 50s. What's it called? The level 50 zone where you do the dailies. I can't remember the name of it.
Prompt.
Oh, I think it's not Grimvault, is it?
No. It's the one that looks like the truer starting zone.
But actually isn't. We'll pick up on that in just a moment.
But yeah, even and then to have a whole extra zone at level 50, I think is crazy within a month.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then there's
go Gazzy.
No, you go.
So let's look at the bits the bits we do know that are out there from scouring the interwebs. I'm under the impression there is going to be an element of needing some Elder Gems to do part of the attunement process, and I believe that's about a week's worth. So that is going to delay people at a minimum for a week, but don't expect that to be the whole of it. You do need to get through vet dungeons at a certain level, and that is not the easiest thing to do. For those that haven't tried them, I have run a couple of them. They're an interesting step up from normal dungeons. Again, it's continuing this, we will teach you to play the game as you progress your way through. And I believe you also need to kill a number of world bosses. So things like the metal maws of this world and things like that, you need to track down as well. So it's going to take a coordinated group. But the nice thing about this is to get yourself attuned to go into a raid, you have to prove that you're good at playing the game. which is kind of what you're supposed to be before you walk into a raid. If I put my raid leader hat on, I like the attunement process. I want it to be hard and meaningful. And if it takes people 2 weeks after they've got to level 50 to attune, that's a good thing in my book.
So does everybody need to be attuned, just so everyone knows?
Yes.
I don't believe you can walk in unless you're attuned.
So it's not like WoW days where one person would get the key and that would be fine. Everyone's got to prove that they're good enough, which is...
Yeah, it's like an Ixia. Everyone
had
needed
to be
everyone needed the Ixia attunement. Everyone needed the Karazhan attunement, just at least to start with. And everyone needed
the cloak.
to do the... everyone needed the cloak. And to be honest, I think that's a good thing, because it means it's like you've got to be at least this tall to enter, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm completely down with that. I'm a bit worried about not having the time to commit to raiding, which is a big shame because I really, really want to. But I think it's what they're doing is very, very good. Personally, I'm looking forward more to being a bit of a war plot mercenary, doing some level 50 battlegrounds and arenas, and the other kind of content that you can play and get meaningful progression from, but without having to commit to, say, 3 evenings a week. So I think that's going to be kind of more my style, plus the world story as well.
Yeah, now a couple of things coming out in the chat that we can see. Calorel87 talking about attunement. Yep, as I believe, he's stating it's 1,500 that's needed in terms of Elder Gems, and 1,400 is the weekly cap. So you will be spending just over a week and saving your gems for that purpose if you're looking to get attuned quickly. It's also being pointed out you can get attuned, but this won't be happening anytime soon because there is an attunement item that drops, but it's off the 40-man boss, the end boss. So that isn't going to be appearing on the auction house anytime soon.
And you have to do 20-man, don't you, to get to 40-man?
Yes, that's my understanding. So to be able to even set foot in Datascape, you need to work your way through leveling, attunement, 20-man genetic archives, Datascape. So they've got this nicely laid out progression. And what I think will actually happen, this is a very good thing, is we'll be back in the scenario we were in sort of vanilla WoW, where you could look at a server and you could see this hierarchy of guilds strung out in different places, in like a league table, so to speak. And it actually was a really good thing, not so much because someone went, hey, we're top, everyone else isn't, but everyone else could find their nemesis, their rivals, their even if it's friendly competition.
Especially if it was other factions as well, because you'd find your level guild on the other faction and try and beat them.
And you'd always just be going like this slowly, and you'd always have a good basis for competition. So that's always a lot of fun. So other things that are going to happen is a lot of people are going to be thinking guilds. Now, some of us are lucky. We're pretty organised. We know what we're doing with guilds. We've got in our case, we had our big guild meeting the other day. Everyone's prepped and ready to go. We're making sure that recruitment is actually closed when we start the game, just so we can concentrate on leveling. But there's a lot of people going to be saying, hey, I like this game. I need to find a home in it. Right. I need a guild. So what do you do if you're playing this brand new game and you don't have a guild? Maybe you want one, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't know why you need one. And everyone's going to be saying, hey, join us, we're the best, we're going to win the interwebs. And it's going to be a feeding frenzy to start with new guilds popping up left, right, and centre that all had dreams of being all things to all people. Yes. Yeah. How do you approach it? Gazi?
I think it's going to be interesting because I'm going to be playing on a server where I don't have a guild and none of my friends are playing. So it's like you're going on Echo, the Dolphin, which I think is a fantastic name for a server. I know that there are a bunch of people going on Hazak, but with me going on Lightspire, it's like, well, I know nobody here, so I'm going to actually have to find a guild. And I'm a bit nervous about doing that because it's like applying for guild stuff. So maybe I will. Maybe I'll just form my own thing. I don't know yet.
Have the Gazimoff fan club.
No, I do not. I should not have a fan club.
You can join Nina's guild. She's making the Marvolio fan club guild.
Yes, which
Join
is it is the best guild name in WildStar, but I don't think it's appropriate for a Chewer.
Okay, so Kai, obviously you've run through this gauntlet a few times before, and you've had your GM hat on, you've got your guild member hat on. What advice would you give to people who are just landing and going, want to do stuff in this game?
I would definitely just concentrate on leveling and things like that, and just meeting people in the game. I think a lot of people are tempted at just joining the first guild that they find, and that's not always the best choice. I mean, you will be more open to meet new people, but I think the best experiences I've had as a new MMO player is just running around, finding someone in a dungeon, or just doing the same quest as me, chatting to them, realizing that they're in a guild, and then they invite you and join that. And I think it's nicer to join guilds in a much more kind of real way, where you meet friends and you join it, and that's how I think it should be, rather than just replying to a chat post. Fair enough if you are looking for something specific like a role play guild or a PvP guild, and you want a PvE server, it's a lot more specific. So if you do see one in the chat, then feel free to reply to it. But I definitely think don't jump into the first guild you see, and just enjoy the game rather than worrying about who it's with, because you will find people.
And I'd also, personal preference, I'd very much advise against the sort of Zerg guild mentality. We know it's going to exist.
Yeah.
There's going to be the join our guild because we've got 11 billion members. Well,
especially for the guild perks, they're going to do that, I think.
But you kind of remove most of the actual tangible benefits of being in a guild, because you don't have that social community, that backup, that friendship. Those things are huge, and if you maybe aren't used to MMOs, maybe aren't used to understanding how big that is, I really stress, don't just jump in the first time a box appears on your screen that says, do you want to join Bob's guild? If you don't know who Bob is and you haven't spoken to Bob, it might not be the guild for you. So a little bit of thought is always a good thing. And it's
always awkward trying to leave a guild as well, if you've just joined it for random reasons and then you've got to leave it because you actually found one that your friends made. It's always a bit awkward, so it's better just to make sure you find a right home than any home.
Yes. But if you ever do have to leave a guild, I would, from a guild master's perspective, please be honest and upfront with people. Go, hey, I'm leaving, this is why, bye, thanks a lot, as opposed to just log out and don't come back. Because that's kind of sucky. Too many people.
Gazimoff, it's ruthless.
It's like, no. What you do is you empty the guild bank, first of all, you wait till no one's online, and then you go.
Yes, I would just like to disassociate myself with that Chewer-based comment. The Chewers have just exposed themselves for what they really are, as if we didn't know already.
And then paid name change.
Yes. Now, one thing that I really would actually stress to people as well, new game, there'll be new GMs, people not used to this. A couple of things. Let's talk a little bit about account security. Let's talk a little bit about authenticators. And let's actually, for those people running guilds and guild banks, touch on the things that are basics to some of us that you really want to make sure you do to keep you and yours intact. First of all, who doesn't want 2% extra experience leveling?
No one.
Gazzy, would you like 2% extra experience?
No.
No,
No,
okay.
don't want to. I'm allergic to extra experience.
Okay. Kai, would you like 2% extra experience?
Yes, I've already got it.
We should probably have 3% each. We could have Gazzy's.
Yeah, Gazzy, give me your share.
No.
No, oh, you want it now after?
I'm gonna sell my 2% to the highest bidder. I think.
Oh, for a cred.
Yeah, I'll trade my
for a
2%.
cred. That's an interesting debate, that one. So, what of course we're talking about is authenticators. Now, Carbine have done something quite smart here, in my opinion. Many people are used to seeing authenticators in Blizzard games, in SW Tour. You might see them, you might have them for work purposes or logging into college intranet or whatever it might be. Sometimes they're on a phone, sometimes they're on this little dongly thing you can put in your keyring and therefore lose and get annoyed when you can't log into your game. But authenticators are good. And Carbine have done their authenticator using the Google platform, using something called Google Auth, which means it's free. it's available and you can have it, and there are really no excuses to not having it. You can use a piece of software from Google. You can run it on a PC. For those of you boot camping, you can run it on a Mac, and you can also put it on various smartphones. The only one I don't know about is BlackBerry. I can't answer that question. Maybe someone else can.
Did say BlackBerry. Yeah, it definitely did. I remember checking it because someone in the guild was wondering if they could get it on PC, and I checked, and it did say BlackBerry. So, yeah.
Does anyone actually have a BlackBerry these days, though?
I think they
Didn't
don't,
they
and that's
stop
Rim's
making
problem.
I think they've stopped actually making new BlackBerries, haven't they? They went back to like the business market or something.
That's a long and interesting discussion that hasn't got a place on this show.
So I think that having a phone-based authenticator is a fantastic idea, right up until the point when you lose your phone in a pub because you've had a bit to drink. Hey, Mizpah.
Yep. Now, the nice thing about Authy, which is an alternative to the Google Authenticator, and it's what I'm using, it's another free app, it's available on iPhone at least, is I can actually split my authenticator between more than one device. So I actually have my authenticator on 2 iPhones, an iPad, and a Mac.
That's nice.
Okay.
So there is, if I can't find one, I should be able to find one of the others. And I've actually taken my very old original iPhone 4 and rebuilt it purely to run authenticators on it. It is now a device that just sits by my PC or Mac
Also nice.
with my authenticators on.
I might do that with mine.
Yeah.
I might ask to take it
There you
off
go,
and use
tip
my
of
old
the
iPhone.
day.
That's actually
Find an
really
old
sensible
iPhone.
advice.
Turn it into authenticator machine.
But to be able to do this, you need to use Authy, which is a free tool. It runs the Google app. It's Google app. It runs the Google Auth infrastructure. It's just like using Google Auth, but it's got a few more features. And one of them is allowing more than one thing to be your authenticator, which is kind of nice. No one likes being locked out of their account. So that's one thing you can make sure you can do. The other thing, of course, is we're going to get an influx in the economy in this game in the early days. Accounts are going to be seen as valuable. There will be people trying to get hold of your account. Be just as vigilant after the launch as before the launch, particularly if you've got creds and things attached to your account, not quite sure on the mechanics there. You know, you want to make sure you've got a sensible password, you want to make sure you're using an authenticator, and you want to be really careful where, ideally nobody, but if you are tempted to share your details with someone, be ever so careful who you share them with, and the official line is you really shouldn't. One thing that I'm doing from a guild perspective, and I'd suggest it to others as well, is for any officer that's got a certain level of access to the guild bank, unless you have an authenticator, you do not have access to the guild bank, and you then have to ask someone else and say, can I have my stuff, please?
Yeah. So, and that's really simple because it's like, okay, equip the eye patch. If you do not have the eye patch, you do not get bank access.
Yes,
Sorry.
very easy. And I was just going to
The
say,
eye patch of banking.
I was just going to say, I don't know if they're doing what you could do in WoW, which is awesome, whereby you could actually make Authenticator a tick box for being in the rank, and that way you knew full well if someone had it. I don't know if that feature's here. I haven't looked for it. But otherwise, as you point out, Gazimoff, you can say, show me the eye patch. And there's also a title as well. The title's rather cool, actually.
I can't remember what it is, but yeah, it was pretty...
Certifiably certified. Yeah, I'd quite like that to be a harder to achieve title, if I'm honest, because it's quite awesome. But I shall be running around with certifiably certified to start with, at the very least. So I'm going to bounce back out to the channel. Those of you who are kicking off in this game, maybe it's your first MMO, maybe it's not. Those of you that are running a guild, those of you who just, you're doing your own thing, what advice would you want to share with others? Let's say we've got new people here playing an MMO. What is the one piece of advice you would give to others? And we'll take some from the channel. We'll take some now. And Kai, as you're looking pensive, I'll ask Gazimoff.
Don't follow Mizpah. That's the best advice I can give you.
It's going to be very hard to follow me from a North American server when I'm not on it.
you might just take a wrong turn at Albuquerque or something.
Yeah, popping up on a different server to the one I logged in with would be impressive even for me.
You'll find a way. I'm sure of it. But yeah, apart from that, I would say enjoy the experience. Take your time. Do not feel you have to compare yourself to anyone else's yardstick but your own. If you're finding the experience fulfilling and enjoyable, then fantastic. If you feel pressurized, then take your foot off the gas, relax, chill out a bit. It's a game. It's there for fun. It's there to be enjoyed. Don't feel you have to treat it as a chore or a race or a competition or anything like that, unless that's the game that you want to play.
Awesome. Kae?
I think, especially if you are really new to MMOs, you haven't played any MMO before, and you possibly haven't played WildStar Beta, I think before you set yourself up for leveling to level 50, try out a few classes. You might make the class and then level it up to 30 and be like, oh, I've got to actually hate this class, and you have to do it all over again. From experience, I've had that. So maybe just try each class up to like level 3 or so, just a tutorial area, see which one you like best, especially if you haven't played an other MMO. You can't really compare it to anything, whereas us who have played WoW and SWTOR and Final Fantasy and Rift, we all kind of know, oh, that's the Magi class, that's the Warrior class, that's the Rogue class, that's the Healer class. We kind of know that and understand how each one works. But if you've never played an MMO, you won't understand the mechanics of that, and especially with WildStar, because it's very, very different combat style to any others. So just like Gazzy said as well, just take your time, find one that you really connect with and you really like, and then you'll enjoy it up to level 50 rather than feel like you're grinding, because it's not fun when you have to grind that level, especially redoing it.
Now, I see some great things in chat, but I'll come out with mine first before I dive into there. And that is, let's not forget the most important letter in MMO, which is the M. And it's the middle M. This is a multiplayer game, a massively multiplayer game. And all too often in some other games, particularly these days, people are logging in, playing a solo game from a city, not really talking to anyone, jumping into a queue, doing a battleground, doing a dungeon, doing a raid, whatever it might be, and not actually getting to experience the whole point of the game, which is the interaction with others. It's a little daunting if you've not done it before, but join a party, see someone questing, offer a group, talk to them, use chat, don't just throw an invite, because I just tend to auto click off if people do that without saying hello to me first. Speak to people, build up friendships. It's so much more fun running in a group, even if you're questing. And as you start to run in groups more and more, you'll suddenly transform from the person that goes, oh, can I come in this group, to all of a sudden you're making groups and running them. It's just a natural progression of experience. And it really does make the game. So make the most of the multiplayer aspect. Find people to play with. Let those small groups turn into bigger groups. Let them turn into dungeon runs. Let them turn into guilds. And then who knows where you'll be later on down the line. Let's see what the channel says. I'm going to be scrolling back up and hunting for various bits and pieces. So, scrolling through. It's being pointed out there's some good threads on the official forums for pointing out how to get the authenticator working. Kae, I think you made a video about that, did you not?
I did.
Would you like to link it in the channel for people?
Yes. Let me just get up my channel. It's pretty simple process, but if you're unsure, I just explain it a little bit and show you a screenshot as to where it's sort of located. So just put that in there for you. Yeah, it's a really simple process, just a case of going to a certain page on the account system and then clicking on the authenticate it and scanning bits and bobs with your phone. But if you are unsure, that video will just go through it for you. I'm sure there's tons of forum posts as well if you are one of those people that prefer to read things rather than listen. But yeah, if you do like a video, then
there you go. Now, Ellen Rose and Silico both have the same most important piece of advice, and it's similar to the one you came out with, Gazimoff. Have fun. That's just, the most important thing. Calrel is saying something very similar to you, Kae. Make sure you try all those classes. Harsey wants to hunt all the Orins down. I have to say this is bad advice, Harsey. I can't get behind that one. Now, I like Memory Dump's comment. This is actually a really good measure for me. If a guild doesn't ask you for an interview, might not be the best environment in the world. Not saying it won't be. I'm not going to say it's going to be toxic or anything else, but if a guild are not vetting who's in the guild, then you've got no idea what to expect by who's around you when you join. So, it doesn't have to be very formal. I mean, we have interviews and forms and all sorts because we do that stuff. It could just be hey, have a 5-minute chat with people. Hey, come on a dungeon run and see if you get on and have fun with people. Any form of just, hey, do we work well together is always good in any form of guild. So I like that advice, Memory Dump. Celebrate when you ding is Hammer's advice. Yes, with a guitar. Might be Matty says... That one. It's ready for celebrating when I ding.
And it's shot.
You weren't expecting that, were you?
I was not expecting that, no.
Let's see. Might be Matty says, make sure you have enough food. Yes, we've dealt with that one.
I should have said that. That's annoying having to go out, especially if you're dedicating a week to it like us. You don't want to go to the shops or have to cook anything. Just pair it tonight.
It's all been done. We've made muffins. Yeah. I've got fruit salad. I've got healthy stuff as well, and I have the table covered in beer and chocolatey snacks. And if you would like to see my chocolatey snack pile, then you can find a picture of it on Mizpah_Enigma on the Twitter. But there we go.
I'm gonna look.
Yes, it is quite a chocolatey snack pile, it must be said. But there is healthy stuff to go with it too.
I have got some chocolate actually, but I've got the 70% dark cocoa chocolate stuff, just because that's healthier, less fat in it.
Screenager pointing out that the online part of MMO actually it wouldn't work very well if that were missing. Fair point, Screen. That's called waiting for the servers to come up.
We could just have a very, very big table with like 2,000 people standing around it.
No, because if it was a table-based game, you'd probably have to take it in turns to have a go. You'd have to wait so long for your turn to come round.
Oh.
I didn't say it would be fun.
Yes, WildStar, the tabletop. You heard it here first. Let's see what else we have. Gonna keep scrolling through. There's nothing constructive in the channel, I'm being told by Screenager. Never mind. Respect other players, says Death's Bane 101. Teach them how to get better rather than calling them stupid. Deathsbane, I wish that many, many people will take that advice. This is going to be a learning environment, not just for people that haven't played MMOs before, but also for those that think they play MMOs and have done in the past, and maybe haven't seen WildStar in beta, maybe have only seen more recent iterations of other games. There's going to be a difficulty level and a learning curve here that's going to surprise and shock some people. Be prepared for it. And in the end, the game will be all the more rewarding because of it. Let's see what else we go. Celebrate with cupcakes. I've made muffins. Do they count?
It's got to be cupcakes. I actually have a recipe for cupcakes, but I can't have them because of this diet that I've been on. So I could make cupcakes and then I could stare at them while I...
gluten-free ones or wheat-free ones?
It's carb-free.
They're also taste-free.
Carb-free ones.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how carb-free ones would work.
Exactly. So I could make bacon and cheese cupcakes, but then I'd have to just put them on the side and watch as they gradually decompose.
I've never tried a bacon and cheese. I went for banana chocolate chip muffins.
You've got to try bacon and feta cheese, especially if you get rashers of streaky bacon and weave them into a lattice and make a kind of cupcake for your cupcake.
I shall be sure to try it. They were supposed to be chocolate.
It sounds like something you'd get off Epic Mealtime.
And bacon bits and bacon. Anyway.
Yeah.
So guys, it is nearly upon us. Not very long to go. One more bit of advice. You probably do want to get some sleep tonight, because if you don't, it's going to be a long old day tomorrow. I may be suffering from that while I try and get the guild website ready before launch. But apart from that, guys in the channel, are there any other questions, comments, brickbats, or bouquets? No.
Give us your questions.
Yes, give us your questions and we'll go, I don't know, or maybe answer it. One of the two.
What do you mean? We're seasoned professionals. We know everything.
Okay, Gazimoff knows everything, so please be sure to send him all of your questions. Kaeyic is going to make banana chocolate chip muffins. Excellent. KRL87 wants to know what class to play. We need more information to help you with that one. What server are you guys rolling on? Well, for Enigma's part, we are going to be rolling on Echo the Dolphin.
Which apparently is going to be the least populated, but that's not a bad thing.
That
in
might
Head
be
Start.
part of our decision-making process.
Yes. So if you are English speaking in Europe, if you don't know, you've got 2 PvE servers to choose from, 1 PvP and 1 roleplay server. So if you want to play PvP, your choice is pretty obvious. If you want to roleplay, obvious. And then if you want to play just PvE like you would of any other MMO, then you have to just pick. Ascendancy is the one that most people know from beta, so assuming most people will flock to that one, we're on Echo, so hopefully less queues.
So, questions coming in. Robot Take Me says, with so few RP realms, do you think they'll be overpopulated? Gazi, as you know everything.
I do not think that realms will be overpopulated for 2 reasons, very fundamental reasons. Firstly, WildStar's realms are bigger than other MMO realms that you may have encountered before. They had a phenomenal amount of players on just a single server for the longest of times, when Nexus was the only beta server, and they had people diving in doing stress tests and all that kind of stuff. I would not be surprised if their servers can handle, say, 40,000 players at a time, which is pushing it some, but I think the infrastructure can probably handle it. So everyone's saying, oh, but we'll have queues. No, you'll have a server chock full of people, which is a good thing.
But you might have queues as well. You might have 80,000 people on a server and a 50,000 cap.
Possibly. However, if there does turn out to be queues, the duration that it takes to create a new server these days is very, very small. I wouldn't be surprised if Cougar has plans up his sleeve. I wouldn't be surprised if
servers ready.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he can crank up new servers within a day. So, you know, queues are forming, servers are busy. Oh, we'll have to crank up new servers. Bam, done. I can't see being a big problem.
Yeah, if I put my old IT ops hat on from once upon a time, then I would fully expect there to be a process already in place that's been tested, with how long it takes to spin up a server. And that process, depending on what kit they use, could be a very, very, very minimal time frame. The key thing is, though, it's getting enough information to confidently make that decision and know that it will remain populated and it's not just a launch spike that they're dealing with.
Yeah, if Ascendancy just gets overpopulated, then they would wait for people to go to Echo first before just bringing up a new one, because that would be silly.
Okay, let's go for some more questions. Memory Dump has a good question. How do you recruit? I'm assuming this is a generic question. How do you recruit in an MMO, as opposed to how does one of the 3 of us here recruit? But on that basis, okay, so you've played a few MMOs before. You want to run a guild, you feel like starting one tomorrow, great, you've just made it, and you are now called Uber Guild the Uberist. What do you do next?
You wash people over the head, tie their legs together, make sure they're unconscious, and then when they wake up, they just happen to be in your guild, in the hull of the ship, having to row. I was going somewhere with that analogy, but it kind of petered out partway through.
Okay. I'm not personally convinced this is the best technique. What do you think, Kai?
If you're serious about making a guild, I would consider getting a guild website. These can be made free. I used to use ShivTR back in the day, and there's so many that you can use that are free, and then have premium options if you do want them. But I would definitely get a guild website so that people can officially apply. Like someone suggested before, if people don't have some sort of application or interview process, then you're going to be one of those mass recruiting guilds, and you don't want to be that. So yeah, if you're serious, make a guild website so people can apply and you can check through the applications to make sure they're not serial killers, unless that's what you want in your guild. But people won't take you seriously unless you have some sort of website that they can go to and find out about you and the guild and your past MMO history and what your guild kind of wants are, whether you're going to be a PvE or an RP guild. You two are naughty. Watching you.
We just got told off by Kaeyi, Gazimoff.
We did just get told off by KaeyiDream. Terrible.
So, I would actually, I agree with everything you said. I would say one more thing, and that's define who and what you are as a guild. Work out where your niche is going to be, work out what you're going to be all about, and then work out how you're going to communicate it. Because if you can't tell yourself why your guild is good and what you're going to do, you're going to struggle to tell anyone else. And I think that's the start point. Do that, get a small group of people who agree with you, believe in what you're trying to do, and then grow it from there. Also, never ever think it's going to be easy. It's not. It is rewarding, but it is not easy. Right, let's look for some more. Scrolling through. Gazzy, someone's making you a fan page, you'll be pleased to know.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
I shall look forward to that with paranoid nervous anticipation.
Is that a thing? Paranoid nervous anticipation? It is now. So, guys, I think we have probably got to the point where we're going to be drawing things to a close because we're all waiting to get started in Nexus.
I need to go to sleep in preparation.
But one more thing remains, I think, to be said. We might be waiting to log into a game that we want to play, but there are people out there who've just spent the last 6 years of their life making this game. So I think it's got to be said. Whether it goes smoothly, whether it becomes a proverbial train crash, I don't believe it will, but who knows. Whatever happens, let's not forget a lot of people put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a big chunk of their life into making this game for us to enjoy. So, on that basis, Carbine, many thanks to you.
Goodbye.
It is time for the end of the show. Cheers, folks, and good night.